Hello everybody, in today's video I'm going to be doing another landscape watercolor painting, and in this video I'm just sort of going by the seat of my pants here. I had no plan. In fact, what I wanted to do was to see if I could try and pull off a realistic enough landscape without using any photo reference or anything like that. All I've done is I've just drawn a zigzag basically across the middle of my page, which is going to be marking out just a little bit of water and landmass. And I just wanted to test my skills without looking at any reference pictures or anything like that, just based on what I've learned so far in the watercolor landscaping paintings I have done, to see if I could try and pull off a realistic looking landscape, or at least, you know, sort of my style of a landscape, without any references, to see if I've actually picked up on things along the journey that I've had in terms of trying to create a piece, sort of basically trying to put all the things I've learned so far and mash them up together to try and see if I can create at least a cohesive looking landscape. So I can't tell you what I'm going to do here ahead of time, sort of hint at things. I'm just purely going on instinct here. But what I am doing was I was trying to just create a landscape that involved a few things that I've done here. I wanted to try and incorporate water, and I wanted to try and incorporate a nice distant mountain line and a nice sky involved, but also some bushes and shrubs, and trying to see if I can get all of that cohesively in there. So I just stuck with a nice sort of rigid structure in terms of this, and you can see my land masses aren't really that organic, but I want to see if I can try and turn it into some natural landscape intention anyway. So as you can see, I'm starting out here with my sky. I like to start out with the thing that's the furthest in the background, and for this, of course, it is the nice sort of overcast, like day sky that I'm going for here, and I'll put that first and then slowly build my way forward. So as I do that, I'm just trying to get to the point where I am happy with it here, trying to include a little bit of clouds, a nice bit of a mixture of blues and blue grays. And as you can see here, I'm tilting my page over the place, and this is actually to soften out the transition between the areas that I haven't painted and the areas I have. So it just sort of merges them just that little bit more, and just like evens it out so you don't get any hard splotches with your paint of where it completely stops in the areas where I haven't got any paint to try and represent the clouds. That's my intention for it anyway. I'm still new to watercolor landscape painting, so still trying to master this technique. But what I'm trying to do here is prove that you don't need to even have a reference or too much skills to try and visualize something that you can come up with, or just come up with just a nice easy painting with very minimal sort of ability like I have here, to really come across something that you might be quite happy with. I can tell you that by the end of this, I was pretty happy with what came out, considering I had absolutely no plan in this at all. And now we're going to be moving on to painting in the mountains. So there we have my mountains for now, and I must say I was absolutely not happy with them at this point. They look splotchy and messy, and that was not what I was trying to go for. I'm trying to go for more of a realistic mountains. I still need a lot of practice with them, but I will improve upon them later on. But for now, I just needed a break from doing those mountains, let them dry so I can fix it up a little bit. So I decided to move on to the water. Another thing that I'm also really wanting to get a hold of properly is the nice water that a lot of watercolor paintings really do come across as having that nice realistic quality. How people can get it, it's really nice and fascinating. I really do hope I can achieve that someday. So I've got to practice, because this is exactly what I want to do. I had no plans for this artwork, but I wanted to include a lot of things that I did want to add a lot of practice in. So having the clouds, I'm sort of getting there with the clouds. Still need improvement, of course, but I wanted that. I wanted some mountains, because I'm still very new to getting in terms of like a mountain and hill edge, so trying to come up with that. And then of course the water as well, that I'd like to try and improve upon my water. So I just wanted to include a whole bunch of things that I needed to improve on. I think this is a good idea for you if you are also a newer artist like I am here, is to sometimes come in with after you've been practicing a lot and learning from references and following a lot of guides and tutorials, is to sometimes just stand back after a while and come in with a complete blank canvas and just mash a few of those things together that you're learning, to see if you can put them all together without following references and that. See if you can really put those images from your head that you've been learning onto the page or the artwork that you have here. So this is what I wanted to do, is to sort of basically, this is since I've been doing it for a few months now, I wanted to set myself sort of like a new benchmark sort of skill, so to see how far I've improved. So that's why I have no references. It is all just based on things I've learned and just trying to mash them together. Probably should have planned it out a little bit more, but hey, it's all about me trying to improve my art journey. And sometimes you just got to do that and just really come in off the cuff and apply the skills you have. And I think it's a great learning experience, and that way you can definitely go back and you can see where your strengths and weaknesses really lie. And this is just a way that I found for me that helps me out, so hopefully it can give you some inspiration as well to try this. If you've been practicing, you're in a little bit of a slump or you're plateauing, to try this. Just completely come out of nowhere, have a blank page, in my case, in front of you, and just mash up a bunch of skills that you have in your head to test yourself without using references. Because I find I don't use a lot of references. I need to get a lot better at that in terms of just all my artwork in general. But what I can do is, when I do that, is I start relying too heavily on references, probably because I'm still in that learning phase a lot, and then I sort of forget to come up with my own inspirations in that way as well. So it's a good way to keep sort of a balance. So spend a bit of time learning, following tutorials and artists, and just looking at things you like and enjoy to recreate your artwork, and then taking a break from that and trying it on your own skill with no help, but just your own ideas coming to life in terms of making the artwork. So that's how I am trying to help, and then hopefully, of course, that'll strengthen your artwork over time, because you'll be improving your skills based on your own knowledge internally and not relying so much on other people's work and so much of basically relying on other people in terms of your strengths and weaknesses, where when you can do it all by yourself, that you can be confident with anything that you want to paint up or do in terms of artwork, that you can comfortably find where your line is, but also push that boundary a lot as well, because where you're comfortable is, so where you can reach out a little bit, and reflecting back like this as well also does give you a great opportunity to see where your glaring weaknesses lie. Like, I can definitely tell by even the end of this artwork that I'm still struggling a lot on the mountains side to make them look a lot of more realistic, I should say. So that's one thing I can do. So it's a good way to also see where your progress is as well. And I don't think you get that if you're just following tutorial and artwork or photographs over and over and over again. Of course, you'll get very, very good at those things, and you'll be able to recreate things properly. But trying to create things from your own imagination is what I'm trying to do here. I want to at any time, if I have a idea in my head for a fantasy world, or just anything that pops into my head, and I can recreate it as much as I can, to as close as I can to that vision I have in my head. So I want to try and help boost your confidence in doing that too. And the way to do that, unfortunately, is like this: is to just come in, have absolutely nothing that you can follow or go along with beside you, and just try and recreate it, just try and create an art piece from a lot of things you've learnt over the time. And it'll become very quickly notice, especially by the end of the artwork, that you will see where you've definitely improved, and where you're better than you think you are, and where you need to work on as well. So that's the whole idea of this piece, is to just sort of reflect back where you are and keeping up with those skills. And then here, at this point, I was actually really happy with how far I had come. As like I said, I was very disappointed and annoyed with how my mountains were coming out. But I was able to get to a point here by letting them dry, adding in more shadows, and then coming back in. Actually, one thing that really helped me out in terms of blending and transitioning a lot of the parts in the background together for the mountain sides was actually waiting for it all to dry, then just coming over with a damp brush and just giving some strokes in the direction of that mountain from the base to the tip, and it really helped blend everything together and give a nice sort of smoother edge. These weren't the original mountains I was intending to draw, to paint it, sorry, as I was going for more of the like the really big scenic ones you see in the background, maybe with a little bit of cell on top. But I'm actually quite happy with how they've come out. Very different in terms, but sometimes you just got to roll with what you can do here. But I wanted to get it to a place where I at least was happy with it. And one other thing I was actually quite surprised with, I'm kind of happy with the water. I mean, it could still use a little bit of work, but it definitely does look like water. It definitely looks more like an ice cold water, like it's very, very like given that frigid sort of look. So what I actually should have done, taken notice that a little bit more, this will hopefully come a little bit more with experience for me and for even yourselves too, is this whole piece, until I put in the little tufts of grass and that I had here, was very coming off like very cold and maybe like Arctic looking with the mountains and stuff in the background. And with me adding in the green for the grasses and the vegetation around everywhere, sort of just threw off the color balance a little bit. Or as I could have gone with a whole theme by making this whole area look like cold, like it could have looked like some northern nice ice cold region. Could have added in maybe some like little like snow effect there. I'm still working on that. I haven't really mastered snow in any sort of way. I need definitely a lot of practice in that area. But I could have gone with mixing in more blues and those types of colors into my vegetation here, and I think it would have just given the whole thing a more cohesive balance, and it would have given off the effect of a nice sort of Arctic region. Although I'm still happy with it. Having it in those pops of color is still good. It gives you somewhere to look at over the entirety of the piece, so it's still not too bad, but definitely something as a newer artist I'm trying to work on too. So I say that if you're a beginner artist like me, it's definitely worth coming in and checking out these types of things with yourself by doing this, and just it sort of gives you a good like test on your own abilities to come in and do this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave you with just the entire piece nicely done and finished, and you can see how it came out.